What might you recommend leaders to leaders around what other professionals who wish to amplify purpose and meaning with the people they influence? Where should they start? What should they do? What do they need to consider?
I think one of the things every leader has to do is they have to lead by example, and they have to get involved in something, and they have to show that it's a priority and it's important to others around them. The other thing that I would say is we have to talk about this. We have to understand what's important to the people around us. It's probably not going to be the exact same thing that's important to me or to my neighbor, but we have to talk and understand what's important to people around us. The other thing I would say is we need to convince ourselves and we need to convince the others around us that this makes sense. Like the more purpose that we have, the more feeling that we have for the greater good, the more engaged we're going to be with ourselves, with our employees, with our clients, with our families. I don't want to point to any specific scientific study that proves this. Just kind of know it because you can see it, that, you know, the more that people are involved in different things outside of the workplace or are able to bring things that are of interest to them inside the workplace, the happier they're going to be, the more satisfied they're going to be, the more engaged they're going to be. And I think it just works. So I think as leaders, we need to talk about this openly. We need to encourage the people around us to get involved, to take a position, to do something, to find something that's important and interesting to them. And then perhaps, as I said, most importantly, to show others that they themselves are getting involved and that they're feeling good about it.
I think it's so important that first and foremost, you have to figure out, like, does everybody from a leadership standpoint have the same understanding of what the purpose is? We are approaching our 10-year anniversary as a company, and we did an exercise this year where our founders who are still leading the business pulled back out the original purpose and mission they had for the company, and we looked at it all together as a leadership team to see, is this still what we believe is the right thing based on where we're at today and where we're headed? And that was a really important moment to make sure that then when we're all off and running in our respective kind of parallel tracks, we're still aiming toward a similar or the same kind of guidepost or North Star. I think that's really, really important. And then making that feel real to everybody in the company. And there's, we were actually having this conversation the other day. We have the benefit that since our founders are still involved in the business, that passion they had in the beginning is still here every day in the exact same way because they can directly convey it. And so they play a really important role in helping it feel very like alive and a living, breathing thing to keep everybody engaged around. Along the lines, Steve, of your example, like to help people when you took the scripts away and you gave people information about the customer and let them then just kind of be their authentic self, giving people some kind of clear principles or framework that fits with that mission and purpose so that everybody's operating by a similar set of kind of assumptions around what's important, but then you give them the room to make decisions and feel empowered in their day-to-day work to bring it to life, then it's authentic and not transactional. I think those are the most important things because then the other stuff kind of starts to fall into place.
Well, I mean, if you're thinking of this subject as being so big that you can't get your arms around, you're probably not alone with people out there. So here's my recommendation. Go as close to the germane things that help people feel like they matter in the experience of work. So here's an example of that. Just helping your employees know how to appreciate each other. So I know we have great programs that we can give money and, interesting things. Those are wonderful things that support appreciation and recognition, but it's actually making it part of the fabric and the expectation of, like, we want to appreciate each other because we came here to do great work. None of us came here to slough off and not do a good job. we're doing it all the time, and yet sometimes it just goes by the wayside. We never hear that from each other. Or I may just walk by and say, great job, as opposed to really laying out, like, what did I observe? What could I really show them that mattered in the way they did their work? So guess what? That's free. And we see it everywhere we go. And it takes a lot of practice. It takes a lot of discipline for people to actually feel comfortable to give that appreciation to others. But that's something that, we're absolutely committed to help grow and teach, through our work, because we feel it's so important and it's so, germane to the actual experience of work itself.